The invitation arrived printed on heavy cream paper, the kind that tries very hard to feel important. My daughter, Claire, had been planning the charity gala for months. Her name appeared everywhere on the promotional materials: host, organizer, patron of the arts. People in the city admired her ambition. She had learned how to move through wealthy rooms with ease, how to turn charm into donations. I sat near the back of the ballroom that night, exactly where Claire's assistant had quietly guided me earlier. It didn't bother me much. I had grown used to being positioned slightly out of view in her world. The ballroom glittered with chandeliers and polished marble. Waiters floated between tables carrying glasses that clinked softly together. Every conversation sounded light and important at the same time. Claire stood on stage, confident under the lights. She had my father's height and my mother's ability to command a room. I watched her move through the evening program with practiced rhythm, welcomes, acknowledgments, carefully timed jokes. The audience adored her. Toward the end of the night, the charity auction began. A large screen behind her displayed items donated by local businesses: art pieces, vacation packages, dinner with a television chef. The bids came easily. The room was in a generous mood. Then Claire leaned toward the microphone with a playful smile. "And now," she said, "for something a little different." A few people laughed already, sensing entertainment. She scanned the room dramatically. Her eyes found me almost immediately. "Everyone has been so generous tonight," she continued, "so I thought we'd add a special surprise item." Her voice brightened in that polished way she had learned from years of hosting. "My boring old mom." The room erupted with laughter. I didn't move. A spotlight operator, thinking this was part of the program, swung the light toward my table. I felt the beam land on me like sudden heat. Claire gestured toward me with theatrical affection. "She's very responsible," Claire said. "She'll remind you to eat vegetables and go to bed early." Any bidders? More laughter. I heard someone near the front say, $5. Another voice said, "$3." Claire pointed excitedly. $3! Do I hear 4? The crowd was enjoying itself. I remained seated for a moment before slowly standing. It seemed easier than sitting there like furniture. My hands rested lightly against the back of my chair. I kept my face neutral, though something hollow had opened quietly in my chest. This wasn't entirely new. Claire had always treated me like an outdated object she carried reluctantly through life, but it was the first time she had turned that feeling into a performance. $3. Claire repeated, laughing into the microphone. "Come on, someone must want my mom." People smiled at me the way strangers smile at harmless embarrassment. The auctioneer beside her leaned toward the microphone. $3 going once. 3 million. The voice came from the back of the room. At first, no one reacted. It was too far outside the rhythm of the moment. Then the room went still. Chairs creaked as people turned. A man stood near the rear wall. He was tall, silver-haired, dressed in a dark suit that looked understated but expensive. The auctioneer blinked. "I'm sorry, sir, did you say 3,000? 3 million. The man repeated calmly. The room fell into a silence so complete that even the waiters had stopped moving. Claire's smile froze. The man stepped forward slowly, walking down the aisle between the tables. People parted slightly as he passed. I recognized him halfway across the room. Daniel Mercer, chairman of the Mercer Foundation. His organization funded hospitals, research centers, entire wings of universities. He stopped beside the stage but didn't climb up. Instead, he looked directly at Claire. "I'll clarify my bid," he said. His voice carried easily through the microphone someone had lowered toward him. "I'm not bidding on your mother as entertainment." Claire's fingers tightened around the podium. "I'm bidding," he continued, "because the woman you're joking about is the person who spent 27 years running the rural clinic our foundation now supports." A ripple of confusion moved through the crowd. Daniel turned slightly toward the audience. when the Mercer Foundation first began evaluating community health programs. He said, "Your mother's clinic was the only one operating in 3 counties." I felt every eye shift toward me. She kept that place open through funding shortages, staffing collapses, and 2 floods. He continued, "Most of the people sitting in this room today have benefited from programs built on the data she collected and the systems she designed." Claire had gone pale. Daniel's voice softened slightly. "So my $3 million bid," he said, "is actually a donation to this gala, made in her name." The silence that followed was heavy and uncomfortable. No one laughed now. Claire opened her mouth as if to speak, then closed it again. The auctioneer cleared his throat uncertainly. $3 million going once," he said weakly. No one else spoke. "Going twice?" He struck the gavel. "Sold." Applause began slowly, scattered and hesitant, then grew louder as people realized what had happened. I felt Daniel's hand rest briefly on my shoulder. "You never liked attention," he said quietly. "Sorry about the spotlight." I gave a small smile. Across the room, Claire remained on stage. People approached her now with polite expressions, but the energy had changed. The easy confidence she had earlier was gone. Later, several donors came to my table. They asked questions about the clinic, about the programs we built, about the early years. Claire didn't join us. When the evening finally ended, she approached me near the exit. For a moment we simply stood there. The noise of the departing crowd filled the space between us. "I didn't know," she said quietly. I nodded. "I know." There was nothing triumphant about the moment. Just a quiet recognition that some distances, once revealed, are harder to pretend away.